Okay, I'm very excited for my next guest, EziMagbegor, a rookie in the WNBA for the Seattle Storm, who is an Australian. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on the show, Dolly.
Yeah, so how are things going in the bubble down there?
Things going well. I think, coming in, I don't think we, like a lot of us knew what to expect. I think it's quite new and no one's ever been in this environment before. But, the season's gone so quickly already. We've only got 3 games of the regular season left. But yeah, it's kind of become the new normal, like kind of just, biking to practice each morning, just going over to the hotel to get meals. But yeah, it's gone really quickly and just looking forward to, postseason, to post regular season, the playoffs.
Yeah, and you guys are sitting in a great position right now,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the ladder, 19-3.
Yeah.
What are you guys trying to do, in these last 3 or 4 games before the playoffs start?
Just continue on and kind of just build that momentum leading into playoffs. So just finishing strong and just, I guess, treating these last few games as playoff games because they're still quite important. We do want to finish that in that top spot,
Yeah.
because it counts. If you finish top 2, you go straight to semifinals. So you miss that elimination round. So that's what we're just going to try to do for these last 3 games.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. And then if we wind back the clock all the way to when you first started playing basketball, how did you first get a ball in your hands and where did you grow up playing?
Yeah, so I've got 3 siblings, so 2 older and 1 younger. And it was my older sister that started playing basketball first. So her singing teacher at our primary school, Venice, she owned like a domestic club at Coburg Basketball Stadium. And so my sister started playing and then my older brother started playing. And I guess, as younger siblings do, they kind of want to copy everything their siblings do. So I started playing and I started on a mixed under-8 team with my older brother. So I think it started off, there was like 4 or 5 girls on the team initially, and then they all kind of quit like halfway through the season. So I was like the only girl on the team with a team full of boys. So never got past the ball. So that was kind of deflating, but it was fun. And I kind of just, stuck with it. I wasn't, great at it immediately. I kind of had to find my feet and, find that coordination being kind of tall and lanky. But yeah, that's kind of sort of how I started and got into it, and then continued on and I guess started playing rep for Coburg Giants as well. So down in Victoria, and yeah, that's kind of sort of how I got into it.
Yeah, your brother wasn't taking care of you with some passes on the pick and roll?
No, he would be the last person to do that. He would see me down the court and just go straight past me.
Oh man, that's tough. And then did you play other sports growing up, or was basketball always your main sport?
Basketball was always like the main sport. Because I was born in New Zealand, so I played soccer in New Zealand, but I was 4, so I think I played for 1 season, and then in Melbourne I played tennis as well, just did tennis lessons. But it came to a point where I kind of had to choose between basketball and tennis. So yeah, at an early age, I just chose basketball and kind of stuck with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. I played a little bit
Yeah.
of tennis growing up as well, and
Oh, did you?
yeah, I think
Oh,
Gordon Hayward is a really
oh
good
yeah.
tennis player as well. And
Oh,
do you,
okay.
do you think there's any carryover between some of the footwork, I guess, of tennis and the angles of
Yeah.
that to how you play basketball now?
Yeah, I kind of do. I think kind of just like the footwork, like kind of fast feet, kind of being on your toes all the time. And Jewel Lloyd, who's actually a teammate of mine on the Storm, she played tennis growing up. So she does like a few tennis drills kind of before practice or after practice that kind of just work in with like basketball, skills. So kind of footwork, just, moving across the court and everything. So yeah, I definitely do think they carry over a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Have you had a chance to challenge her? Is there any tennis courts down there on an off day to have a hit?
There's definitely plenty of tennis courts, but we haven't had a hit yet. And she just got a couple of tennis rackets. So hopefully on our next day off, we'll kind of get down there if the weather's good. Early morning, so it's not too hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely challenge her.
No, that's cool. And then I know you went to the Australian Institute of Sport where a lot of Australian basketballers come through. Can you talk about how I guess you got invited for a scholarship there and what you thought when you first heard about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, you know, a lot of kind of Australian athletes kind of aim to go there. And that was kind of where I wanted to go in terms of, you know, developing my game. And I think that was kind of the best place to be. But sort of how I got, I guess, offered a scholarship, I, you know, played for Coburg, and then you kind of get selected for your state teams, obviously, like you did. So you played for Victoria. So yeah, I got selected. Oh, big country, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Big metro for me. So
Oh.
yeah, don't know if I can talk to you right now. But yeah, so I made my first state team top age under 16s, and I guess like at those tournaments, the AIS coach Paul Goris, he was there, and Kristen Veal was there, and they kind of, you know, needed new scholarship holders, so they selected 4 of us, so myself and 3 other girls my age, and we kind of had to have like a selection process. So we went up to the institute to train with the under 19 girls, and then kind of they picked 2 from there. But like the week before I was meant to go up there, I was doing school athletics, and I was running in like a 200-meter race, and it was like such a miserable day. Like it was pouring down rain, and I kind of like was running. It was like a freak accident. I was running, and halfway through the race, my hip kind of like popped out, and so I didn't end up training that selection process. But I was so like upset. I was like telling Dad, like, can you call them and see if I can still come? And you know, they still wanted me there, so I hopped on the plane and kind of just, you know, hung around and kind of saw the facilities and everything. So I was lucky I still got to go. And yeah, they kind of still selected me, which I was super grateful for. Me and another girl, Jasmine Simmons. And so yeah, that's kind of how I got into that. And then I was there for 3 years. And yeah, like I said earlier, it was probably the best place for me to be in terms of development, because I, you know, I was still, you know, tall, pretty unco, and yeah, just finding my skills a little bit. I think, yeah, that was definitely the right place for me to be in.
Yeah. Was it a tough decision to leave home at, I'm guessing, probably 16, 15 or 16 years old?
Yeah, I was 15, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was as hard as I thought it was going to be. I think I was like, that's where I wanted to be. Like as soon as I heard about it, I was like, that's where I want to go. And you know, I was pretty young, but that kind of wasn't a factor coming into my decision. I think more so for my parents. Like Mum was super like, you know, don't want, you know, like I was the 3rd oldest, so like it was kind of weird me leaving home first. But you know, once they saw how excited I was, they kind of just jumped on board, and yeah, just made the decision and kind of never, you know, looked back after that.
Yeah, I think my parents felt the same way.
Yeah.
Leaving home early, they're a little
Yeah.
bit more upset than me. I was just
Yeah.
excited to get up there and
Yeah.
get
You
started.
went when you were 15, or?
I went when I was 16 and had two
Okay.
and a half years up there, and
Yeah.
just unbelievable experience, and
Yeah.
to learn a lot of skills that carry over to today, taking
Yeah.
care of your body, nutrition.
Mhm.
What
Yeah.
are some things, I guess, that you learned in your time there that are still really helpful for you today?
Yeah, I think, like you said, just kind of taking care of your body and kind of doing, you know, things on your own, and kind of doing the off-court stuff as well, and kind of just, I guess, like using that independence and not having to wait for someone to tell you what to do all the time, is kind of helpful as well. With me too, I was like kind of always that like a shy kid and quiet kid, so it kind of forced me to, I guess, come out of my shell a little bit, which was something, you know, I definitely needed. I don't think, you know, if I didn't go there, I probably would have still been, and I'm still, you know, kind of shy, but I definitely would have been more shy than I am now. So I think, you know, it kind of forced me to, you know, be in those social environments and kind of just, you know, take, you know, that step and kind of not look. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. And then can you talk about, I guess, representing Australia in the under
Mhm.
17 World Championships, winning the gold medal and being named the MVP? Was that your first international competition, and what were you thinking going into it?
Yeah. So that was my second international competition. So I was um, selected for under 19 Worlds, so as a double bottom major
Oh,
the year
wow.
before, where we won a bronze medal there. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think going to that tournament probably gave me a little bit more confidence and kind of knowing what to expect in an international competition. But yeah, like I still say to this day that was probably one of the best, tournaments, both on and off the court. Obviously, winning the gold medal as well, but just the team that we had and the coaching staff, it kind of just made the whole experience that much better. So yeah, we played the US in a practice match earlier in the week, like prior to the tournament starting, and we lost by 17. But it was kind of like a close game up until the third quarter. So I kind of think playing that game kind of gave us a bit of confidence. Like we were like, we can beat them, and I think it kind of helped us going into that semi-final against them. And then I guess US, they're always a team to beat. So just beating them in that semi-final and then playing Italy in the gold medal match was awesome. And Australia hadn't ever won a medal at an under 17s tournament before. So yeah, that was the first one. And then I guess just to win MVP was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome experience and to be a part of. And I guess after that, you would have had a lot of interest in you, either for playing college in the US or playing in the WNBL in Australia. Can you talk about, and you ended up deciding to go pro in Australia and play in the WNBL. Can you talk about what you kind of weighed up when you were making that decision?
Yeah. So I think like soon after that tournament, I got a lot of like interest from US colleges, and they kind of started, starting that recruitment process. So for the next 2-3 years. So yeah, I was always gonna have to make a decision whether I wanted to stay in Australia and play WNBL or go over to college. And with me, I'm pretty bad at making decisions. I leave them last minute, so that's kind of what I did. But I definitely wanted to weigh up the pros, the cons, and kind of what would be best for me. So I still went on college visits. So I visited UCLA and UConn, University of Connecticut as well, because I still wanted to see what it was like, and kind of just get myself like all the exposure that I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I decided to stay in Australia and play in the WNBL and become a professional. And I think the thing for me was just being able to train and play against professionals every day and kind of just work on my game. And I'm still studying at the moment, so being able to do that as well. So yeah, it definitely was a hard decision because pretty much like everyone in my year kind of went to college. So yeah, it was a hard decision, but I'm glad I kind of stayed and stayed in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked out pretty well for you so
Yeah.
far. What were some of the adjustments you had to make or things you had to learn transitioning from the junior competition to playing against professionals?
I think definitely the physicality of the game. I definitely had to, get in the gym and kind of put on a bit of, muscle and to be able to compete with the other players. The post players in the WNBL are quite strong, and then even coming into the WNBA, they're even. I think that was probably a big adjustment that I had to make.
Yeah.
And obviously, being a junior, I was pretty much the tallest out of the opponents that I played against. But coming into the professional side of things, it's like 6'4" isn't that tall for a post player anymore. So how to counter that and using like my speed, I guess, and just learning how to counter that and using kind of other things to go against the stronger.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that's cool. And then, can you talk about, I guess, the anticipation you were feeling on draft night?
Hmm.
Did you expect to get picked at number 12 by Seattle, or what were your thoughts like going into draft night?
I was very nervous. That was definitely the feeling, kind of like the underlying feeling. But um, I guess it was, with draft day, never know what to expect. But I'd spoken to Coach Dan Hughes, the head coach of Seattle, the night before, and kind of just spoke to them, and they said that they were interested, but I didn't know if they were gonna pick me at 12 or pick me at all. So I kind of just went in with a lot of nerves, and I was with Bruce, Mary, and my parents as well. And I think they were kind of just feeling like my energy as well, because I was like super nervous, and mum and dad kept looking at me. And um, but yeah, it kind of just went through 1 through 11, and I was just like sitting there like kind of waiting, fidgeting, and then my name was called at 12. And I think like as soon as everyone saw that I was kind of relieved and calm, they could kind of celebrate as well. But yeah, it was an unreal experience, just hearing my name called, and to be drafted to a team like Seattle too was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there is a great video on social media of
Yeah.
that moment, so people will have to go and check that out.
Yeah.
Pretty cool to see. And then I guess going to Seattle Storm, where they've had a lot of success winning multiple championships and have a rich Aussie history, obviously with Lauren Jackson, and they currently have one of your Opals teammates there, Sammy Whitcomb. How has that helped your transition during your rookie season?
Yeah, it's definitely helped a lot. I think, obviously, like you said, has had a history of having Australians on the team, and I think I haven't had the chance to experience it yet, but the fans really kind of get around Australians. So that's something I was looking forward to, being a part of. But yeah, it's definitely made that transition a lot easier. Like Lauren's spoken so highly about the organization, both on and off the court. And then obviously, Jenna O'Hay playing at Seattle, and obviously Sammy now. So I kind of got, inside of the team before I came over, which was super helpful. And then to have Sammy here, kind of someone before I, flew over here was, it definitely settled the nerves a little bit. But yeah, it's great to have that history of Australian females, and just to see what they've done kind of paved the way for me to be here. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then how do you balance, I guess, playing multiple seasons, like with the WNBA in the US, the WNBL in Australia, and then the Opals, in international competitions? How hard is it to schedule all that out and plan ahead?
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, it's kind of become the new normal. I think so many female basketballs have to go, from season to season, kind of just normal for us. But in terms of like just scheduling, I guess like commitments and national team camps, that's been kind of difficult to get everyone in the one spot, like at one time. So, we plan when we can and try and, I guess, take into account everyone's schedules, but it's quite tough. And kind of tough on the body as well, just going, from season to season, and they're pretty much straight after each other. And then, if we have like a 2-week break during a season, that's kind of when our Opals camps are. But yeah, like I said, it's kind of become normal because I've been doing it for the last 2-3 years. So I think, at the start it was quite difficult, just hard to adjust to, just going like 2 days, and everyone would be like, Ezi, you're young, you can keep going. And I'm like, okay, like, I mean, if you say so. But yeah, I've definitely gotten used to it now.
Yeah. What do you, I guess, like doing to take care of your body when you are playing back-to-back seasons and then in
Yeah.
a national team camps? What do you find helps the most with taking care of your body?
Yeah, I think just, obviously getting in the weight room, kind of just doing, prehab exercises. So I know I do a lot of things for my back, lower back and stuff, and just kind of work on, like Pilates movements and everything like that. So I think that's kind of important for me, in order to keep my body right for the next season. But yeah, just doing the, little things like eating right, just recovering right, and, you really utilize days off, because, you don't get many of them, especially in a season like this. So just really looking after yourself away from basketball as well.
Yeah, no, it's great that you've already got that at, how old are you now? 20 or 21?
21, yeah.
21.
21.
Yeah, you should be playing for a long time if you're doing all that already. So that's
Hopefully,
great.
yeah.
And then can you talk about representing the Opals for the first time? And I'm guessing playing with people you would have looked up to. Can you just talk about going into your first training camp and how that feeling was?
Yeah, so I think 2017 was when I first was selected for the Opals squad. So I think that was a squad of 22, 24, and that first camp was held in Italy. So that was pretty cool for a camp to be. It was quite a long camp. It was like a week, so it was quite tough. And that was kind of the selection camp for the 2018 Commonwealth Games, which are in the Gold Coast. So yeah, after that camp, I got the phone call at the airport from Sandy Brondello, our head coach, and I was on the way to my college visit. So I was at the airport with mum and dad, and Sandy called, because I was waiting for her call, to say whether I made the team or didn't make the team. And I think, like they did on draft day, mum and dad were kind of just trying to read my face while I was on the phone, kind of seeing if it was good news or bad news. And yeah, Sandy let me know I was selected for the team. So I was really excited about that, because, Commonwealth Games, having it in the Gold Coast in front of a home crowd, I was super excited for that, to represent Australia for the first time. And so that was my first team, like squad and team selection. But yeah, Commonwealth Games was awesome, just being surrounded by, people that I've been watching on TV, and just looked up to so much. So to be a part of that was something, that I didn't expect to achieve at such a young age, but I'm, super glad that I got to experience that.
Yeah. And then can you talk about winning the silver medal at the World Cup later that year? And also, I guess, what, the goals are for the Opals, hopefully heading into Tokyo in 2021 now.
Yeah. So later that year, we had the World Cup in Spain. And yeah, we won the silver medal there. And yeah, that was a great experience as well. And just to get away and kind of just represent Australia, I guess, outside of the country was another experience in itself. But yeah, we played Spain in our semi-final. So they're the home team. So the crowd was insane, like just so loud, and it was just such an intense game. And I think, like, every time the Opals get together, we kind of relive like the last 4 minutes of that game, because Kayla George, she hit like a big corner three, and every time they play that shot, like, we all get goosebumps, because it was kind of the shot that kind of solidified the win. But yeah, that was just like a great experience, and to play the USA in the gold medal match was, pretty amazing, to play against, the Sue Bird, like Diana Taurasi, kind of getting my first like experience to play against those WNBA players. But yeah, I think medaling at any, World Cup, Olympic like competition is quite tough. So to win a silver medal, we were pretty proud with that, and just hoping to continuing that into the future, and hopefully 2021 Olympics, if that goes ahead. But I think, a lot of things have been put on hold or have been cancelled at the moment. So those qualifying tournaments that we kind of have been having. So we have like windows in November, February. So yeah, just kind of trying to plan on when like the Opals can get together at different times, because it's not as easy to get together at times like this.
Yeah, no, that's definitely understandable. And I guess having that experience playing in the World Cup against a lot of other WNBA players, and then playing against the US, who has, you know, a team full of superstars, how has that helped your, I guess, confidence level heading into your rookie season, knowing that you've already competed against the best of the best on the world stage?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helped, I think, I guess, kind of preparing me for what, you know, would be the kind of competition in the WNBA. So it gave me like, you know, a little bit of exposure to that, and, you know, prepare me a little bit of what to expect. But obviously, you know, coming over here, there's so many more players than I guess the 12 that I played against. So yeah, it definitely kind of gave me confidence, like a little bit of confidence, but still coming in here, it was like, well, like, you know, playing against WNBA players, you know, so skilled, and just having kind of to adjust on the fly. I think, you know, the first few days of training camp were quite tough, just adjusting and kind of getting my shot blocked all the time by Brianna Stewart. So just kind of, yeah, like I said, just adjusting on the fly, and just, you know, playing different teams. You know, obviously they have different players, kind of adjusting to different tendencies as well.
Yeah, well, going against Brianna Stewart in practice is only going to help you when you're competing against other teams, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then you mentioned it earlier that you're studying as well.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously you're busy with basketball, and you know, have heavy practice, games, and taking care of your body and doing
Mm-hmm.
those kinds of things. Can you talk about how you manage to fit the study in and keep a schedule, and what you're
Yeah.
studying right now?
Yeah, so I'm currently studying psychology at Deakin University, and I have a year and a half to go. So I've been doing it for the last 3 years, so it's kind of, you know, become normal, and I've kind of gotten into schedule a little bit. But yeah, I think just that we kind of have a lot of spare time. You know, we go to practice, you know, get tested every day, and then kind of have our game. So in those, you know, spare moments, I kind of just try and watch lectures that have been recorded, or try and, you know, get a bit of study in. But yeah, it's kind of hard not to like procrastinate a little bit. But yeah, I think it's great, kind of good that I have something to do like away from basketball, and kind of just keep me busy during those during that spare time. But we just got our exam schedule a couple of weeks ago, and my exams kind of coincide with the final series. So if we go to game 5, like I've got one exam that night, the night before. So hopefully it doesn't have to go to game 5, but yeah.
we might have to talk to Deakin and see if they can give you a couple day extension on that one.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I'm sure they're pretty, you know, lenient and super helpful. So hopefully I'll just reach out and see what they can do.
Yeah, yeah. No, and then what got you interested in studying psychology? That's what I got my degree in at St. Mary's, and I found it really interesting. What got you first interested in it?
So I studied it in year 11 and 12 at high school, and kind of, you know, just loved it as soon as I started that. And I actually decided to study commerce, law and commerce first at Deakin, and just study that out of convenience. Like I thought, you know, it was a great degree to have, and I kind of got halfway through the trimester and was like, this isn't what I want to do. Like I've always enjoyed psychology and kind of wanted to stick with that. So I transferred to psychology, and kind of just, stuck with that ever since. And I absolutely love it. Like I find it so interesting. And, you know, those subjects that you get to study, they're kind of, you know, relevant for everyday life, and kind of like just relationships on and off the court and stuff. So yeah, I find it, super relevant, and hopefully I, can get through this undergrad and just, yeah, get it done.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then obviously you're young and you're taking great care of your body, so you're going to be able to play for a long time. But what would you like to do when you're finished playing? Would it be something with the psychology degree?
Yeah, definitely. I'm like interested in like child psychology, or obviously playing sport. Sports psych is interesting as well. But I'm hoping to do like postgrad study while I'm still playing basketball. So once I do finish my basketball career, hopefully a long time down the track. But yeah, once that finishes, hopefully I can make that transition into, you know, hopefully becoming a psychologist. So that's kind of what I do with that degree.
Very cool. And then when you do a postgraduate degree, is that
Mm-hmm.
when you specialize more and have to do your own research? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's when you kind of specialize. But before that, you have to do your master's first, and then kind of like an internship for 2 years, and then so it's a lot, and then you kind of get to specialize. But yeah, with postgrad, Deacon's really good with all of that. So they have like a bunch of researchers at the moment. So I think in fourth year, which is what I'll be doing next year, they kind of try and expose you to what you're interested in. So hopefully I get, that exposure to more, like child psychology research or sports psych. And I think, like I said, it helps kind of being a professional athlete, just exposing myself to that sporting environment as well.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. I'm excited to hear what you end up doing with that.
Yeah.
And then I was going through, I think it was your Twitter before this, and you've done some work with helping hoops, the basketball charity in Melbourne. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I was kind of, always kind of interested in that, but I got the chance to be a part of that through Nike. So yeah, helping hoops, it's a great kind of charity, and it kind of just helps, people kind of just have something to do on a Monday, Tuesday, weekday after school, and kind of exposes, them to basketball, and kind of, keeps them active. So that's something that I, love to be a part of, especially within like the African community in Melbourne. So yeah, I've been down there a few times, but yeah, hoping to get there again once I get down in Melbourne. But yeah, something I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And then you mentioned one of your sponsors, Nike, and you're also sponsored by Sporting, who I am as well. And I really enjoy working with them, and we've done a lot of cool activations.
Yeah.
We've got to give Bruce and Mary a shout out as well.
Yeah.
But what I guess do you look for when partnering with a sponsor, and what do you like to do when you do different activations?
Yeah, I think just with all sponsors, I think just really looking for, I guess, something, genuine, and something that will kind of represent the individual. So being us, the athletes, kind of well, and kind of just, they kind of appreciate your input as well. So I think with Spalding, they do like a great job of that, just, getting input from you and kind of like what you want to do, and they kind of just support that. So I think, yeah, signing and just being a Sporting ambassador was kind of a no-brainer with that. And they've, been great. So I'm hoping to do, more things when I get in back to Australia, hopefully, and kind of when, COVID kind of dies down a little bit too. But yeah, just looking to form kind of genuine relationships with brands. That's kind of what I look for.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I know it's tough since, yeah, you can't obviously do a lot of in-person stuff right now, but I saw the drills you filmed for them, which hopefully, are keeping the kids going and giving them something to do with the lockdowns right now.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. And Bruce has told me you're a big reader as well. What types of books do you like to read, and do you have a favorite one or one you'd recommend?
Yeah, my favorite kind of genre to read is kind of just anything romance. I'm kind of like just love all of that stuff. So, but I've gotten into those, like kind of self-help books lately. So, Bruce actually recommended the 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma to me. So I just started reading that. And I just read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari too, who's by the same author. So kind of at the moment, kind of into those self-help books. I think just, there's a lot of downtime at the moment. So kind of just utilizing that and kind of just reading those. But I think favorite author is John Green. So that was kind of like the first few books that I read by him. But yeah, definitely recommend The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And there's another book, I don't know, you may have read it, Chop Wood, Carry Water.
Yeah.
Have you read that one?
Yeah, no, I've read that one. I haven't read the other two, so I'll have to check those ones out.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I read Chop Wood, Carry Water a couple of weeks ago. That was recommended to me by a friend and loved it. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm reading at the moment. But if you have any good recommendations, I'm definitely open to them as well.
One of my favorite ones is Open by Andre Agassi.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of goes into some of his, off the court stuff and different challenges he had. And so probably check that one out. But it sounds like you've had a very productive time in the bubble so far between studying, reading books, having, been on the team top of the standings.
Yeah, trying to stay, successful, hopefully.
Yeah. And then last one, what, I guess, plans or goals do you have for the future?
Yeah, this is a question I always try and avoid when people ask, especially like with off-court stuff. But I think with basketball, obviously, probably the number one goal was, playing the WNBA. And obviously I'm able to do that now, but just to, to continue to improve my game and development, because I, still think I have a long way to go with that. And with, the player that I see myself being, I kind of just, have to keep improving, keep developing. So yeah, just, hopefully going to my first Olympics, next year, hopefully, and just, representing Australia at hopefully more Olympics as well. And then just continuing to have a prolonged basketball career, overseas as well, and then in the WNBA as well. So, and I think with, off-court stuff, just, finishing my psychology degree and just hopefully, exposing myself to more, research over the next few years while I'm still studying. And yeah, that's kind of sort of my goals at the moment.
That sounds like a great plan. Ezi, thanks for coming on. Really enjoyed it and excited to follow your career.
Thanks, Sally. Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Matthew Daly. And while you're there, check out the Daly podcast playlist for more episodes. Thanks for tuning in.